Most people start their first real job in their mid-20s and want to do the responsible thing with their money. So they go to a financial advisor. The advisor looks professional, confident, and knowledgeable. They talk about diversification, risk management, and long-term growth. They show charts that always seem to go up and to the right. Everything sounds smart, safe, and reassuring. Automatic investments are set up. Maybe $500 per month. There's a feeling of relief. Money is finally being handled by an expert. Trust is placed in the system, and investing fades into the background. Years pass. Life gets busy. Career, family, responsibilities. The investments quietly run in the background. 2 decades later, the account is finally checked. Over 20 years, $120,000 has been contributed. The portfolio is now worth $287,000. At first glance, this looks fine. The money has more than doubled. Discipline seems to have paid off. But then an important question comes up. How much am I paying in fees? Most people don't know the answer. And that's exactly where the problem lives. When the numbers are examined closely, the truth appears. Between advisor fees, mutual fund expense ratios, and other hidden charges, the total cost can easily reach around 1.9% per year. That number sounds small. Almost harmless. 1.9%. Less than 2 cents on every dollar. But over 20 years, that small number quietly adds up to more than $73,000. Gone. Silently. Year after year. And that is not even the biggest loss. If the same $500 per month had been invested in a simple, low-cost index fund, something like a total market fund with an expense ratio of 0.03%, that portfolio could have grown to around $392,000. That's a $105,000 difference. Not because of a bad market. Not because of a poor saving habit. Simply because of fees. This is why hidden fees are so dangerous. They are invisible. They do not show up on your bank statement. They are deducted automatically before you ever see your returns. You never write a check for them. You never approve them. You never see a line item that says, fee deducted, $3,400. They just disappear. It is like a slow leak in a tire. You don't notice it while driving. Everything feels normal. But slowly, silently, the pressure drops. And you only feel the damage when it's too late. Let's break down where these costs actually hide. Mutual fund expense ratios. This is the annual fee charged by the fund company just for managing the fund. The average actively managed mutual fund charges around 0.5% to 1% per year. Every year. Whether the fund performs well or not. Front-end and back-end loads. Some funds charge you when you buy in. Some charge you when you sell. These are called load fees. They can range from 1% to 5.75%. On a $10,000 investment, a 5% front-end load means you immediately start with only $9,500 actually invested. 12b-1 fees. These are annual marketing fees hidden inside the fund itself. They pay for advertising, distribution, and sometimes advisor commissions. They typically range from 0.25% to 1%. You pay these even though they do nothing for your returns. Advisor AUM fees. If your advisor charges assets under management fees, that usually means 1% to 1.5% of your total portfolio every year. On a $300,000 portfolio, that's $3,000 to $4,500 per year, taken automatically. Now add all of these together. A 1% expense ratio. A 0.5% marketing fee. A 0.5% advisor fee. Suddenly you are paying close to 2% every single year. That doesn't sound like much. Until you run the math. Let's talk about two investors. Same income. Same $500 monthly contribution. Same market returns of 8% per year. Same 40-year time horizon. Investor A pays 2% in total annual fees. Investor B pays 0.1% in total annual fees. After 40 years, Investor A ends up with around $700,000. Investor B ends up with over $1,400,000. Same effort. Same discipline. Same market. Almost double the outcome. That gap, that $700,000 difference. Is the cost of fees compounding against you for 40 years? This is what compound interest looks like when it works for the fee collector instead of for you. The financial industry is not built to make this easy to see. When someone chooses a complex product, they often believe they are getting something sophisticated. Something that regular investors can't access on their own. But complexity is not sophistication. Most actively managed funds underperform their benchmark index after fees are accounted for. Year after year. Study after study confirms this. The S&P 500 has beaten the majority of professional fund managers over a 10 to 20-year period. The complexity exists not to help the investor. It exists to justify higher fees and to make the product harder to compare. A product that is difficult to understand is also difficult to question. So what is the solution? The solution is actually simple. And that simplicity is available to everyone. Request a full fee disclosure from your advisor. Ask for the expense ratios of every fund in your portfolio. Add them up. Calculate what 1.5% or 2% of your current portfolio balance costs you in actual dollars per year. Then ask yourself if you are getting that much value in return. A total stock market index fund charges as little as 0.03% per year. A bond index fund is similarly priced. These funds do not try to beat the market. They simply track it. And because of that simplicity, they consistently outperform actively managed funds over time. The math is straightforward. Lower costs mean more of every dollar stays invested and compounding for you. Use a simple compound interest calculator. Plug in your current balance, your expected return, and two different fee scenarios. One at your current fee level. One at 0.1%. See the difference with your own eyes. That number is real. That is money that belongs to you or to someone else depending on the decisions you make today. If you want personalized financial advice, there is a better model. Look for fee-only financial advisors who charge by the hour or by project. They have no incentive to sell you high-commission products. You pay them a flat fee for their time and knowledge. This model aligns their interests with yours. The traditional AUM model, where the advisor earns more as your portfolio grows, sounds aligned. But it also means they never have to justify their fee to you directly. An hourly advisor does. This is not about blaming advisors. Many financial advisors are hardworking professionals who genuinely care about their clients. But the system they operate inside often incentivizes products that generate higher commissions over products that serve the investor better. The responsibility ultimately falls on each individual to understand the system and make informed choices within it. Financial literacy is not optional. It is self-defense. Here is a quick checklist before you make any investment decision. Ask, what is the total annual cost of this product, including all fees? Ask, how has this fund performed compared to a simple index fund after fees? Ask, is my advisor legally required to act in my best interest, or just to recommend something suitable? Ask, am I paying for complexity that does not actually improve my outcome? If the answers make you uncomfortable, that discomfort is valuable information. The investors who build real wealth over a lifetime are not necessarily the ones who found the best stock picks or the smartest advisor. They are the ones who understood costs, kept them low, stayed consistent, and let time do the work. Simplicity is a superpower in investing. A low-cost index fund. Automatic contributions. Decades of patience. That combination has created more generational wealth than almost any other strategy available to ordinary people. You worked hard for every dollar you invested. Make sure it is working just as hard for you. Understanding fees is not the most exciting part of personal finance. But it might be the most important. Because the money you keep is just as valuable as the money you earn. Start with awareness. Protect what you have built. And build the future you actually deserve.